I guess they could just talk for 9 minutes straight, but hopefully they actually showcase, like they actually give us something. I do have this on 4K. I don't know how well that's going to show up on stream. Oh, well, they got ratings here, so they're going to show us something.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional gaming experience.
Why, you trying to sell us the upgrade?
When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table. 8 Zen 2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second. PS5 has a powerful RDNA 2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas to explore. Ray tracing allows for dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between game worlds and data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially unlimited.
I gotta even try it.
Tempest
I haven't even
3
tried it
audio
yet.
tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are. Finally, the DualSense controller has haptics that let you feel through your hands what your character is experiencing inside of the game. It's wonderful to see such variety and richness of game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time.
Really? Wow.
Decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is rendering that's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second.
Might be.
Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier. This goal of delivering
Such a minor difference,
fidelity-like
dude.
graphics and performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, we can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5. Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars.
Yeah.
So overall, some remarkable improvement to the games. On PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is being used quite broadly to add pixel detail and boost frame rate. But there are as many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys. Jorv's orders.
Good enough for me.
Ray tracing is finding broad usage as well, particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates. The faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
You'll never break a legend, 'cause they don't know we're legendary.
Yeah.
Don't let me hang.
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, they even showed us the console yet.
What's with all the neon?
Pretty thin. Yeah, 700, dude. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of trust me, bro statements there. They didn't actually show us, like, they didn't tell us what the things were called. They didn't tell us that the performance mode or the fidelity mode is going to run at 60 frames now. It was just like a look how much better it is compared to the PS5. So what, it runs at 45 now? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. It's still early and I just finished coffee. So like, but trust me, bro, for another $200 was like, I don't know. That's kind of wild, dude. I don't see it. And in an industry and where your consumer base is already so very anti-AI, like to even utter the words AI in a broadcast is like, I guess I'll wait and see, but like, Right. Yeah. No, for real. For real. If it's not a fully guaranteed my 4K games are gonna run at 60 frames per second, why are you buying it? Like, who cares? Yeah, well, and at least for me, like the PS4 Pro was a pretty substantial upgrade, right? Because like when I was playing Final Fantasy 15, it was running like shit on the PS4, but the PS4 Pro, it ran like butter. It was awesome. Yeah, $800, like $700 for a home console is a really good PC nowadays. Honestly, 500 is around the line, I think. Right? I think 500 is the line. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll wait and see with because I'm a little concerned. I guess this is the only thing that I'm even like where it's even a consideration for me is I'm worried that the newest Final Fantasy VII game may be building on the new PlayStation 5 console. I agree. I think when the PS4 Pro came out, it was the same price as the PS4. If memory serves. I forget, it's been a long time. I think it's been 10 years. But basically all it did was it lowered the price of the old PlayStation 4 consoles down, and then the PS4 Pro came in at the same price. I gotta admit, I'm pretty disappointed, man. I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed. It's a lot of trust me, bro. It's not a lot of actual numbers, not actual data. I'll be interested to see if they post on a website or something with some actual, like, information. Oh, you know, Blaze, they didn't mention if it was just digital. No disk drive. If there's no disk drive, it's an immediate no. It's an immediate no. There's no disk drive? Woo! Woo! There's an optional disk drive. It's 80 bucks. Look at this shit. Are you kidding? Then it's $800. Like, tell us what it actually is then. It's not $700, it's $800. Well, that's an immediate pass then. They're out of their minds. Man, Sony has lost it, dude. I said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm gonna say it with my whole ass chest this time. Sony is out of their minds. They are losing their shit. They're losing their shit. They got in the lead over Xbox, and they think that they're the premier gaming console and the premier way to play video games, and they are dead fucking wrong. They are dead wrong. They're out of their minds. Absolutely out of their minds. $80 a year for a base level subscription to their online service, $800 for a disc version of their new console. They are losing it. Yeah, 1,100 Canadian is insane. PS6 to be 1,000. You're probably not wrong, Blaze. Like that's the wild part. In what world? Like they have the data of how many people used the performance mode versus the fidelity mode, right? They have that data. Do not fucking tell me you don't have the data of disk drive versions of your PlayStation 5 versus digital. You know damn well what the difference is between the sales on those two consoles. And the only reason people bought digitals before, outside of the maybe 5 to 10% people who actually bought the digital because they wanted the digital, right? Maybe 10%, was because the other one wasn't available and they just wanted a PlayStation 5 when all the scalpers were taking them all. And they were just trying to get their hands on whatever they could. But $700 for a digital only console is insane. That's wild, dude. That is, you want to talk about a disconnect from your consumer base? That is blatant. That is blatant and abhorrent. There's absolutely no excuse for that. Absolutely it will. Absolutely it will. They're out of their minds. They're out of their minds. I'll never purchase a PS5 Pro. That's crazy. And you know, Larry, that might actually be a strategy, honestly. Because the PS5 Pro coming out, I'm not certain now, but usually when the new console comes out, it pushes the old console down a little bit. But like, with that price difference, the PS5 might stay at 500. This will be the first time when the PS6 comes out, unless there's a release game that I'm super jazzed about, which I can't imagine happening. There's no way I'm getting a PS6 on release after what the PS5 did. Like, absolutely not. They have lost me as a consumer. That was a lot of trust me, bro, for me. Like, before they even showed the price, that was a lot of trust me, bro. I'm not into that shit. You got to give me details. Give me what is the actual GPU? You say it's an improved memory chip, like a new or improved CPU. What's the CPU? Give me the actual information, right? But ray tracing, and look, we made these pixels look better with AI. Look how good it looks, everybody. It's crystal clear. Fuck off, dude. Like, what are we talking about? Honestly. Like, that's ridiculous. You cannot tell me that that's what your consumers are that concerned about. Don't tell me that everybody in your consumer base is 75% of your players. They said it. 75% of their players are playing on performance mode. They already don't care. Like, they already don't care what the game looks like. Let me get this straight. So the companies, so the organizations, the businesses, the gaming companies, right, that have made it so that their game functions on the PS5 Pro, they're going to be 4K 60 frames per second because that's what they made it on that console to be. The ones that aren't, Sony's system is going to AI upscale it to make it work, is how I'm reading that. So they say it's similar in size, it's got better vents, so it's going to have better like airflow, bigger GPU, 4K 60 frames, variable refresh rates that can range. TVs with variable refresh rates that can range from 40 to 120 frames are going to work with PS5 Pro, PS5 Pro modes. I just want the specs. Like, I don't. So these are the ones, these are the games that are confirmed to have PS5 Pro support, meaning that the games were made to run 4K 60 frames and will run that way on PS5 Pro. So they're not going to have the AI upscaling. It's just going to be it's just going to work. Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Demon's Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, the Wizard game, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, The Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, and Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. And then the PS5 Pro Game Boost applies to more than 8,500 backward compatible PS4 games playable on PS5 Pro, which will stabilize and improve the performance of the PS5 Pro games allegedly. PS5 Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7, and territory supporting the standard. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. Interesting. We haven't even tapped into full 4K yet, and they're already talking about 8K. Like we haven't even gotten 4K stable on consoles yet, and we're talking about 8K? Like, come on. Stop it. Well, and it's because they don't want us comparing the specs, right? They just want people to pre-order. Did they even have a release date, by the way? November 7th. I don't know. I'm like wildly disappointed. Wildly disappointed. They didn't even give us specs in the showcase. That's wild, dude. Like, and to have the audacity, by the way, to talk about the specs of your current PlayStation unit and then not give us the specs of the new one in the showcase is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. That's like saying, well, in your old PC, you had a 2080, but now we have an improved graphics card. Okay. What's the improved graphics card? How is it improved? How much is it improved? Does it have more RAM on the graphics card? Like VRAM? Does it have more VRAM on the graphics card? Like, does it have more? Is it more powerful? Does it consume more power? Like, do I need a bigger power supply? What's going on? What do you mean it's better? Better in what way? Oh, trust me, bro. Trust me. It's just gonna run better. Look how much it runs better. Look at the comparisons. Don't give me tech detail and then not give me tech detail. Like, that's not how that works. That's not a showcase, right? That's just you going, hey, this is what we ran before, and don't worry, this is better. We told you so. We said so. We said so, so it's better. That doesn't work for me. Sorry. It just doesn't work for me. And all the articles I was seeing was just like, oh, it definitely runs better. Oh, it's definitely a better GPU. How? In what way? What's the GPU then? Tell me what it is. In case that wasn't incredibly clear, I'm out. I am disappointed because I did want to get it for Rebirth because I wanted to be able to see the full Rebirth experience, but I think I'm just gonna wait for it to come out on PC. I'm just gonna wait. I'm satisfied with how I played it before. I'm just gonna wait until it comes out on PC and I'll replay it then. I think it's probably gonna flop. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we're on the wrong side of the fence, you know? I definitely understood that like more people play the performance mode of video games today than the graphical mode because of the graphic mode not being consistent. But I was surprised to hear that it's 75 to 25%. That's a pretty big swing. I figured it was like 65-35 or 60-40, but I always prefer to consume the art form the way I presume the creators wanted it to be consumed, right? That's a fair point, Rose. Yeah, that's a fair point. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And from the creator side, right? From the people making the game, that's like we just want to make sure it runs well, right? So like I see it from their perspective, but like it should just run on the console, to your point, right? You shouldn't have to decrease the graphics on a console. right? It should just work. And then with the PS5 Pro, why is there still an option for a performance mode? If it's so much of an upgrade, if it's so much more powerful, if it's got that much more juice to it, why can I still choose? They have gone complete money hungry. Absolutely. Well, and here's so as I'm calming down now, right? They mentioned that they released the PS5 at a loss, right? That they were losing money on those consoles, right? Whether you believe that or not is irrelevant. Let's put that off to the side, right? Whether we believe that or not is that's not part of the conversation. That's not what we're saying right now. But they're saying that they released this at a loss, right? Because they knew that if they released it at a loss, they would make profit off of the people buying the games, the accessories, etc., because people were going to buy the PlayStation 5, right? And for the most part, so far in 4 years, right, they've been correct. They're almost at 60 million units, right? They're selling, the PS5s are. So like that remains true. Do you release this new console knowing damn well at that price, like for that price point, there's no way people are going to buy it? Do you just release it then at a profit and just move on? Like where you at least recuperate your money, right? So like you say that you can't sell this for less than $600 because you're losing too much money per console. Maybe they just knew this wasn't going to hit, this wasn't going to land, and they knew it wasn't going to land at 600, so they put it out at 7. I'm genuinely surprised. I'm surprised that they chose this route. This shows a complete and utter lack of understanding of their consumer base. They don't understand. They don't get it. And that's crazy to me that they don't get it.